Hello, my name is Wes Hickey from the University of Texas at Tyler, and here is our weekly 5 in 5 education stories. The first one I received from a student about a principal pushing children out of the way, and then she was ultimately killed by a bus that was out of control. Uh, and this kind of highlights something I think is important. As educators, we have a moral purpose to what we do. And most educators I know would be willing to save kids in any situation they possibly can. And really and truly, this is more of a metaphor for much of what we do on a day in, day out basis, is that we are there to make a difference with kids. We're there to save them if they need saved and lead them in the right direction. And that's one of the reasons that I think as educators we have the greatest job of all, because we can make that kind of difference. Second story, top court sides with cheerleaders in the Koontz Bible banner suit. In this is that the Texas Supreme Court has ruled in favor of Koontz cheerleaders putting Bible verses up on banners that football players run through, ultimately making this a limited public forum for religious speech. This is kind of surprising because Hazelwood v. Kuhlmeier in 1988 basically stated in co-curricular activities is that there could be some editorial control over these type of activities. In this case, in Hazelwood case, it was a student newspaper, but you can see a lot of parallels between what they were trying to do and what the cheerleaders were trying to do. But the Supreme Court ultimately ruled that in this particular case it would be okay to put the Bible verses there. Even if you are sympathetic, I think we need to be careful, because what you create there is that limited public forum for students to express themselves. And I will tell you is that if everybody believed in the same thing religiously, every small town of 1,200 people wouldn't have 30 churches. And so you have to be careful when it comes to that. And I think Koontz making an attempt to try to say we stay out of the business of religion was probably doing the right thing, and yet they've been reversed there by the Texas Supreme Court. Had lunch the other day with Fred Zachary, former superintendent of Waco. He wrote a book on Some Children Left Behind. The premise of this book is that our educational reforms always focus on what teachers need to be doing better, or better curriculums and those type of things. But the premise of this book is that unless we get a better work ethic in kids, and maybe even teach them a little bit of grit and the ability to continue even when things get tough, is that we're always going to have a difficult time. Is that fundamentally speaking, is that to the extent that we can get kids engaged with what they're doing and to work at what they're doing, is to the extent that we can be successful with schools. Interesting read. There's a link there if you're interested at some point. It doesn't take long. And it is a little different than what you read in just about everything else related to education. And the final little point I want to make is that I go to Belize several times a year for an educational humanitarian effort out there. Is in the Toledo district of Belize. It's kind of a poor area. The picture here is from a few years ago with Jessica Pierce of McKinney ISD, and she's reading a book to students in Corazon Creek. Now, when I bring this up here is that I have always try to bring students every June. And this year I have 2 to 3 spots left. And you do not have to be a UT Tyler student to go. So if you have any interest and you want to get more information about it, please email me. If I can get 2 to 3 more added on before I start getting ready to order tickets, which will probably be in early March, then so much the better. So hope to hear from you if you have any kind of interest. At UT Tyler, we want to make a difference. We want to be the architects of human potential. Let us know what we can do.